Good afternoon or good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Miss Munoz for math. Quick reminder, red stop, green go with me. Write every single thing I write down, even if it means you have to pause your video. Okay, today we actually are skipping to lesson 7. So we're skipped lesson 6 and we're going to lesson 7. You should be on page 37 of your student journal. So page 37. Okay, our objective today is going to be exactly what it's been. Today I will continue practicing 2 formulas for volume. So this is our 3rd day of this, and hopefully, like I said, every day you just feel a little bit better. That's our goal, is every day to feel a little bit better. Okay, quick reminder about a few important words is volume is the space inside a 3D object. And our 3D objects are all going to be rectangular prisms, which is a perfect box. And what do we fill those with? We fill them with something called unit cubes. Tiny little cubes is what we fill them with. Okay, remember we have not been using our steps. Instead, we've been using our 2 formulas. So our first formula that we're working on is volume equals length times width times height. And our second formula is volume equals base times height. Those are the 2 formulas that we're trying to get really good at, okay? So since this is our 3rd day, we can expect our problems to get a little bit more challenging, okay? But just hang in there, that's okay. If it's a little tricky, I'm gonna help you and you're just gonna get better each day. Okay, so I picked up my red pen, which means you can put yours down, and let's look at the first problem together. Okay, so a few things that I notice is my shape looks different. It says, find the volume of the whole cube in kilometers cubed. Okay, so one thing I noticed that's different is they want the whole cube, but they're missing some of it. They kind of did that to trick me. So we've seen them use these before. Remember these little cubes? This one cube here is what we call a unit cube. That is our unit cube, that one little cube there. Okay, so it looks different because they're missing some to kind of throw us off. It also looks different because they didn't give us our numbers. They didn't give us our numbers. We have to figure out our own numbers. Okay, so then there's even another difference, what we'll talk about in a moment. Okay. So we're going to still, even though it's a trickier one, we're going to still practice both of our formulas. Volume equals length times width times height. Okay, so even without our numbers, we're going to have to figure this out. So this is my length probably, my width, and my height is my straight up and down. So if I look at my length, how many cubes long is it? 1, 2, 3. Okay, if I look at my width, I see 1, 2, 3 also. Okay, this is the tricky one, my height. I want you to think for a minute, how high do you think it is? All right, if you're guessing 2, you got tricked. Because it looks like I only see 2, but doesn't this cube have to be sitting on another cube? There has to be one underneath this. So I see these 2, but I know that under this one there has to be another one. So it's actually 3 layers tall or 3 layers high. Okay, I wish we were together in a room so I could see how many of you figured that one out. Okay, I also would have known because they told me it was a cube, so that should have been another clue that they all had to be the same. Okay, so I get 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, now another thing they did different is we've been only saying units, but they told us that our measurement now is kilometers cubed. So instead of saying units cubed, I'm going to say kilometers cubed. Okay, they really changed things up on that. Let's try our next one. Volume equals base times height. Okay, remember base is the whole bottom. So how many is on the bottom? How many of these are on the bottom? Well, I could do a few things. I could multiply my area, which is 3 times 3 to get 9. I could have counted them if I remember that there's one under there, but it's 9, and we already said our height was 3, so I'm also getting 27. So I could say cubic kilometers if I'd like. Cubic kilometers. But we have to make sure we have our cube or cubic in there. Okay, let's look at another one. Find the volume of this rectangular prism. Okay, so I'm going to try my two formulas. Volume equals length times width times height. Well, this one's a little bit more clear because they give me my numbers. So 6, 4, and 5. And I know 5 because my height would be straight up and down. So I get 24 times 5. Okay, I'm going to probably maybe use this as some scratch paper to solve because I can't do that in my head. And I'm getting 120. Okay, so what they did to this one a little different is they gave us a measurement. Our measurement is feet. So instead of units, they're telling us it's feet, and volume always has to be cubed. Okay, let's do our next formula. Volume equals base times height. So what's the bottom? Well, they didn't draw it for us where we see the whole bottom. We have to kind of picture that there's a bottom in there. The bottom is 6 times 4 because it's the area of the bottom times the height, which is 5, and we already solved. So I could say 120 feet cubed. I could say cubic feet, but I have to make sure I have the measurement of feet and something cubed. Okay, please turn your book to page 38 and let's try two of these together. Okay, we are going to try our two formulas, so get ready to split your page in half. And our first one is volume equals length times width times height. Okay, so my length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, is this a cube again? And this time we can see the whole height. How tall is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tall. But in my problem, it also said it was a cube. So that would have been my clue. All right. So 5 times 5 is 25 times 5. This one I actually could do in my head because I would probably think about quarters. And if I had 5 quarters, well, 4 quarters would be $1, and 5 quarters would be $1.25. So I could do that one in my head. And this one tells me my measurement is inches. So it's 125 inches cubed. Okay, if I did my other formula, I get volume equals base times height. Okay, my base is my whole bottom layer. All this, my whole bottom layer. So I could have counted them, or I could have just found the area by saying the length and the width. So 5 times 5 is 25. And my height is 5, and we already solved. So I could say maybe 125 cubic inches. It means the exact same thing. I'm just practicing different ways to write it. Okay, let's look at our next one and split it for our two formulas. Okay, find the volume of the rectangular prism. So let's start with length times width times height. So this one, it looks like my length is 4, my width is 4, and my straight up and down height is 1. So I'm getting 16 times 1, which is 16. Okay, My measurement is M. M stands for meters, and it's meters cubed. Okay, let's do our other formula, base times height. So the bottom, the area of the bottom is length times width gives me area. So 4 times 4 is 16, and my height is 1. So I'm getting 16, and I can maybe practice writing it different, meters cubed. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're feeling a little bit better on day 3 than you did on day 1. Today I want you to practice page 39, page 40, and page 41. Try doing both formulas. It's going to pay off and you're going to get stronger at this. Have a wonderful day. Bye.